Hi, and welcome to Wrong Way! And recently, there has been quite a bit of new wheel releases, so it's time to talk about that. So, let me tell you more about it. So all of the 5 major EUC companies have been releasing some new wheels recently, and I don't have all of them yet. I don't know if I even will get all of them, but I do have some thoughts on those really new wheel releases. So first I'm going to tell you about the most exciting wheel for me each brand has now to offer, what I would like to see made by this brand, and also tell you my level of excitement about this new wheel release. So let's start out with Veteran. And I have my specs in hand here because there's quite a bit of data for this video. Starting out with the Veteran Sherman L. This wheel was just released and this will be the successor to the Veteran Sherman S. So a long range sort of street wheel that can also do off-road, naturally with suspension. So let's get to the specs. This time we will also get a 20-inch wheel, but this time with a wider tire. So we get a 14-inch street tire with a 1990 diameter. So this thing should be a bit more maneuverable, especially at those lower speeds. I don't know if this tire is final yet. I guess we'll see. The motor power is 3,200 watts with a peak power of 8,000 watts, so should be plenty powerful for any situation on street and off-road. We'll be getting a 4,000 watt-hour battery, which technically is 3,000 watt, 890 watt-hours if you count everything correctly, and 50S Samsung cells. Now, pretty much every new performance EUC uses those cells because they're both high discharge and high capacity. So, you know, a good choice here. The voltage will be the same as on the Lynx, so 151.2 volts, so a cool running wheel, very efficient, etc., etc. And of course, we'll get a smart BMS, which is awesome, and every new wheel, whatever size, whatever price, should have a smart BMS. This wheel will presumably get the same charger as the Lynx, so I'd say between 4 and 5 hours for a full charge with a 5 amp charger, but this is yet to come. I don't know what will be in the box. Maximum charge rate will be 20 amps, so insanely quick. Like about 1 hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes for a full charge, and then probably like 150 kilometers of range. Pretty insane for a long-range cruiser. The free spin speed will be at around 130 kilometers an hour, but for sure we will be able to keep that speed at a higher level during the whole battery charge level as you just have a bigger pack. So at those lower 10% battery, you'll be probably able to go a lot faster than on the Lynx. Weight is of course what concerns me the most. This will be heavier than the Sherman S at 46.5 kilograms. Probably this is what you will feel a lot if you're a lighter rider. So the heavier you are, the better it will be for you to ride on the Veteran Sherman L. And you will feel that weight a lot during like lower speeds and especially off-road. So prepare your muscles because 46 kilograms is a lot. And in tandem with the suspension that Veteran uses, I don't think it will be the most precise wheel. The Sherman S wasn't. I think this will be a bit more, but still not as precise as, for example, the Begode ET Max. Talking about suspension, here we will be getting a fast A suspension just like in all Veteran wheels, 90 millimeters of travel, sadly not more than the previous wheels, with a oil seal. So this is probably the most sort of fluid suspension out on the market. Not the most travel. I would love to see more travel on such a wheel, especially if it's a long-range cruiser, but this is what we get. Pretty known set of suspension. People know how to service it, so that's a good point for me. I didn't see a seat on this stock sort of setup on the Veteran Sherman L, but I would presume that Veteran will come out with some sort of seat option for this wheel. The trolley handle is also made out of metal, I know magnesium perhaps, and it locks in place, which is awesome. When it comes to lighting, we get the same as on the Lynx. Once again, lots of parts seem to be used from the Lynx also on the Veteran Sherman L. So the front light will be very blinding, but good for off-road riding, and a tail light the same as the Lynx, which is great. And now let's get on to the price. And the price will be 4,699 euro. You can already pre-order it on at One Ride's site. You can also use my coupon code WRONGWAY for a discount, 5%. But come on, how expensive are those wheels getting? Now, I know it's not as expensive as, you know, a super high-end e-bike for downhill, but it's just so much money. I mean, at this point, you can get just so much stuff for one Veteran Sherman L. And I think they really need to calm down. Like, you do use a limited number of parts. You have just a battery. You don't even have brake pads. Like, this thing shouldn't be as expensive as it is. So Whew, very expensive. All right, so on a scale of 1 through 10, where would I put my excitement level for the Veteran Sherman Lynx? And it is about 5 out of 10, I would say. It's another heavy wheel, it's another long-range wheel, it's another wheel that will be a bit too difficult for me to ride on, probably, presumably, I don't know. Veteran offered to cooperate on that, but we're still figuring out the details. I don't know if I'll get one in the end, we'll see. Comment below if you would like me to review the Veteran Sherman L. The thing is that the wheels are just getting so extremely expensive, and I don't need like this infinite range. I really don't like where this super heavy, expensive wheel trend is going. I feel like there's a much bigger niche in the cheaper wheel department which needs to be filled, rather than making those things even more heavy and even more expensive. I would be very happy if Veteran would be just like, okay, we upgraded the Veteran Sherman S, now it has a smart BMS, have a good day. Like, it's not really a wheel I'm super excited for, it's just sort of a bigger Lynx with similar stuff and nothing like amazingly exciting. Now, I find that there's a couple of things that are pretty cool about it, like the kickstand, which is now higher and smaller. More shins of riders will be preserved while pushing this wheel around stores. I do like how they still focus on lightness, sort of, because it's a wheel with bigger capacity by 400 watt hours than the Sherman S, but still it's not a lot heavier. And with the new motor compared to the Veteran Sherman S, it will be also lighter to accelerate, presumably, and lighter to ride. But then again, I don't think it will be a precise wheel. I don't think it will be like the easiest thing to ride, especially if you're a lighter rider. So therefore my excitement level is at a moderate 5. Now I also wanted to tell you which wheel I would want to see from each manufacturer. So when it comes to Veteran, I would love to see a small, shrunken Veteran Sherman Max. Hear me out. I think that Veteran is good at making wheels which are pretty consistent and you know how to fix them if there's something wrong with them. And the Veteran Sherman Max was and is still very reliable and people love it. So I think if they would make sort of a 16-inch version of it or even a 14-inch version of it, just make it smaller, make it easy to ride, make it easy for new riders to start on, because there's currently no wheel that I can really recommend for my whole heart, which is below 2,000 euro, that people could start on, all right? So make a small Veteran Sherman Max, call it whatever you want, make it the Veteran Sherman Junior, I don't know, call it in the name of another tank, whatever floats your boat. But like a small Veteran Sherman Max with like 1,200 watt hour battery, 1,600. Not everyone needs like a huge wheel. Not everyone needs to spend so much money on a wheel. So yeah, this is what I would like to see. And now let's get on to Begode, which just came out with the Blitz, which is the German name for lightning. Yeah. I know, Begode naming scheme. I don't know, it's just whatever they come up with. Cool though, lightning sounds good. So the Begode Blitz will be sort of the successor of both the Master and the Extreme in a way, I would say, like a smaller ET Max, and I'm all for it. Let's go through the specs. The tire size will be 20 inches, and once again we see a street tire as the main option of the wheel. So it's very interesting that you see manufacturers want to just put a street tire now on instead of the knobby, which was the trend before, sort of. So here also a 90 by 90 tire. Love that trend. I really love that tire on the ET Max. It will feel at home on the Begode Blitz. However, this will be not the best option for off-roading. And while Begode seems to advertise this as a racing wheel, maybe it will be a great racing wheel, it will need a knobby tire if you want to go off-road. So hopefully you'll be able to select either knobby or street tire. When it comes to the motor power, it seems to be more powerful than the new Veteran wheel, the new Veteran Sherman L, at 3.5 kilowatts nominal power and 8,500 watts peak power. And here there's a small detail that makes me just put my excitement level a bit lower, because they want to put a C32 motor on it. So if you don't know what the C stands for, it's essentially the width of the magnets, and Begode has been using C38 magnets for the longest time. Those are high torque motors with wider magnets that have plenty of torque, and they also use a C40 motor on some of their wheels. And before they used C30 motors, 30 millimeter wide, on high-speed wheels that they were creating. So here they're really trying to focus on the top speed, but I just hope that it will begode with torque, because that's not something I want to miss out on. If you want to make a good wheel all around, it needs a lot of torque. It seems that the motor power says that it will be torquey. It will have about 300 amps continuous output when it comes to the phase current from controller to motor. So hopefully it will be powerful, but this just gives me a hunch of unease when it comes to this wheel. Moving on, the battery will be 2,400 watt hours, well actually 2,304 if you count it correctly, at 134.4 volts with a smart BMS, love it, and Samsung 50S cells. As it should be. You know, a bit less battery than Lynx, but therefore a bit lighter too, and lightness super important in this wheel. However, you know, if you do racing, you want to have a little bit more battery to have less sag and a bit more power reserve. So not sure what Begode is going for here. The charging rate will be also at 20 amps, insanely quick. This wheel will be charging about an hour or below to full, super quick. I have no complaints here. When it comes to the free spin speed, it will be at 150 kilometers an hour, super quick. So especially for a 134 volt wheel, this is really high. I just hope it will have the torque to back this up. And then when it comes to the weight, another super exciting feature, 35.9 kilos. This will be the lightest wheel with such a battery size ever. It will be about the same weight as the S22, and this, guys, is honestly what we need. We need lighter wheels. We need more human-oriented wheels. Like, at least speaking from my side, we need more wheels that are, you know, you can tame. And with this weight and a lot of magnesium and apparently titanium in it, this is the direction I want wheels to go for. Lighter wheels, more agile wheels, safer wheels. This, if it will have the torque, will be phenomenal to go off-road on and do jumps on. Super excited about that. So when it comes to the suspension, we get a suspension linkage that is adjustable. So you can have either a stiffer suspension with 100 millimeters of travel or a bit of a more floaty suspension with 130 millimeters of travel. So you just sort of use a different linkage bolt for that. And it's a air shock, so it's lighter with dual dampening. So excited to see that. The seat will be made out of plastic as far as it comes to the pictures that I've seen. So I will miss the foam that we did have on the Begode Extreme and on the Begode Master, but hey, this is what it is. And we also have a trolley handle, and I hope it will be locking. Like, please, I don't want to have a trolley handle like we have on an ED Max. Oh, when it comes to lighting, very exciting here. This is the first light since the Begode Hero, if anyone remembers that wheel, which has a cutoff beam at Begode. So this wheel should not blind others. Wow, so they can actually do it. And there's a daytime running light ring around it as well. Super cool. The tail light looks pretty weak, I guess, as usual at Begode. I wish they would just put something off the shelf in the back as well. I mean, how hard can it be? I didn't see the price yet at OneRide. I guess they will maybe add it to their site soon. But at eWheels that I'm also working with in the US, it is $3,200 excluding tax. I say excluding tax because, you know, we live in Europe. I live in Europe. If you live in the US, you know it's excluding tax. If you live in Europe, you think it's with tax. All right, anyways, so it will be a lot cheaper than Lynx. And it is, in my opinion, a Lynx competitor because it's just lighter, not that much less range, a lot of performance. I am excited. So my excitement level here is 9 out of 10 because it's a lighter wheel, because it has, you know, a lot of travel, and because Begode is constantly working to improve their suspension. So my hopes are high here. Also with the power. The only thing that makes me drop that excitement level a little bit is the C32 motor. We'll see, 32, how it works. And if it won't be enough, I will just beg Begode to make a C38 or C40 version of this wheel. So that is what we are getting. What would I actually want from Begode? Well, I would want them to put a smart BMS in all of their smaller wheels, especially the M10.5, the Falcon. I know those packs are small and they still have their battery distribution boards to check if everything's all right, but please just put a smart BMS into them, and therefore you would make it a lot safer. Troubleshooting would be a lot easier, and this is just the way to go. So this is my message to Begode when it comes to their current wheels, because I would love to try a M10.5 or a Falcon, but I won't, because I will not review any wheel that doesn't have a smart BMS. So my wish, or actually two wishes, that I would have to Begode in terms of future wheels, I would love to have a cheaper sort of MSX equivalent. If you don't remember MSX, that's all right. It's been a wheel released a couple years ago, which was sort of like cheap and cool without suspension, with a 1600 watt-hour battery. So I would love to see some like new iteration of that. Like, again, not everyone needs a expensive wheel, not everyone even wants suspension. Same with bikes or like bicycles. Not every bicycle has suspension, so you can also live without it. Just to get a bit of a price down and get more riders involved, because I feel like recently not a lot of people have been going into the EUC world, and I think that price and reliability issues of those wheels, especially with suspension, has been a big contributing factor to this area. So I would love to have sort of like a cheap, reliable wheel with a decent range, like, you know, 1200 watt hours, 1600 watt hours. Similar request to Veteran actually. And my second wish will be maybe fulfilled, because maybe I am working with Begode to make a wheel according to my specs. Stay tuned. Right, let's move on to Kingsong. So Kingsong just announced the S22. I mean the F22. I mean, can you really hear the difference? S22, F22. Why does Kingsong make their names just so convoluted and difficult to remember? 16S, S16, S19, F22, S22, S20 before, 18S, S18. Like, come on guys, like, get a bit of creativity going. They released the F22, not Raptor, recently, which is basically a Lynx. Let's face it, Kingsong, that's just what you did. You were like, oh, that's a nice wheel. Let's make the specs a bit better with higher numbers and more suspension. And let's put a Begode light on it, because why not? I don't know. All right, let's get into the specs. So this will be, again, also a 20-inch wheel. Lots of 20-inch wheels in today's video, with a 14 by 2.75-inch knobby tire. So the same one as we see on the Kingsong S22, nothing special here. I don't like this tire so much because it's very thin. I mean, it will give you more range, but I don't think it's the right choice for such a heavyweight EUC. I mean, we'll talk about weight a bit later. When it comes to motor power, 5,000 watts nominal, 10,000 watts peak. On paper looks a lot, but if it's anything like the watts that you have on the S22, it will be underwhelming. And when it comes to the battery, I just feel like they were like, okay, let's just make more volts, then people will like it more. So they added one battery in series per sort of side on this wheel. So we have a 37S battery pack, super weird, 155.4 volts, totaling 2,738 watt hours. So this will be the first sort of long range wheel by Kingsong, which is kind of cool. Naturally, it will also have a smart BMS and 50S cells. Now, important here, I hope that the battery will be sealed properly. Kingsong, listen to me. If you just put the battery into a box and then like put some plastic on it, that's not a safe battery. Shrink wrap it and then additionally wrap it in something, and then give me a IP rating that the batteries are safe even in contact with water. All right, so that's a detail we'll need to see about later. The max charge rate, also 20 amps, super fast charging, and they will use the same port as the Lynx. So presumably you will be able to charge it with a Lynx charger, just not to the full voltage. So you see manufacturers, am I right? When it comes to the free spin speed, 130 kilometers an hour, very similar to the Veteran Lynx. And the weight, I didn't see any official weight sort of info anywhere, but somewhere I read between 45 and 50 kilograms. And if that will be the case, then this wheel might not get a lot of sort of interest. It's because it's just heavy. I mean, why would you get a 5 or 10 kilogram heavier wheel if the Lynx exists, all right? With like a very similar battery size. So weight will be very important here. We need to wait to find out about the weight. If it will be around 40 kilograms, 42, all right, pretty cool, but 45 to 50 will be tough to sell. When it comes to the suspension, Kingsong was like, okay, they use fast A suspension with 2 pistons. We're better. We use 4. I don't think that this is how it works, Kingsong. I don't think that will be necessarily better. So there's 4 fast A sort of pistons. I guess they will be like diagonally different. Where will be the compression? Where will be the rebound? Will there be just like 2 of them are guiding sort of sliders and they don't actually have suspension in them? I don't know. We'll find out. It will definitely have a stiffer chassis therefore, which is awesome, but I don't know if the sort of bigger weight of those 4 elements will be worth the bigger stiffness. And they are also on the corners of the wheel, on the edges, so I think this will be easy to just damage randomly. So I guess we'll see. I didn't see a seat in the pictures of the F22, but I guess there will be one available. And there's a trolley handle, which is extendable from the inside. I hope there will be a button, but nowadays with Kingsong trolley handles, you never know. There will be also some lighting here, which is like LED, RGB. Cool. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but we get it. And there will be also speakers, like tweeters and subwoofers. And Kingsong, if you would just put so much effort into the engineering of the wheel as you do for speakers, well, then it will be a lot better. Okay, I stopped roasting you. It's good that it has speakers, not a priority, but well, they are there. When it comes to the lighting, in the front we have like a Begode lighting unit for whatever reason, which will be probably a little bit blinding. And the taillight should be pretty visible. It's like one of those RGB units, not too bad. I didn't see a price yet on that wheel, but this will make or break this wheel as well. So the weight and the price, this is something we need to find out before, you know, telling if the wheel will be actually like worth your money and worth your effort. But with the issues I've recently seen with new Kingsong wheels, I better hope they put a lot of effort into it so riders can go back to Kingsong, because now I think after the S22 there's just a lot of people angry for getting a product that didn't work all that well with, you know, suspension bolts, BMSs breaking, boards breaking. So yeah, I guess we'll see. So what's my excitement level for the Kingsong F22? I would put it at 2 out of 10. I'm excited to see like how a powerful Kingsong wheel will behave. How will it work with the suspension? What will be the range? Because presumably it will be a bit more than other wheels. Kingsong wheels seem to be very efficient. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know, surprise me. Maybe it will be an amazing wheel, but for now my excitement level is low. Which is good for you, Kingsong, because then I can just go only up from this excitement level. It's not like I'm super excited and then I'll get disappointed. So good premiere. Kudos to your marketing team. So what is a wheel I would actually want Kingsong to make? And for the longest time, I've been asking Kingsong to just update their wheels. Turns out all of their like earlier wheels, the 14S, the 16S, 18XL, 16X, they still don't have a smart BMS. So that needs to be there. And they don't have a hollow motor. Their axles keep breaking. Those are cast iron axles. They should not be inside a EUC. If they would just put a hollow motor into the 18L, if they would put just the smart BMS into it, I would run out to the store and I would buy it because I miss it. The 18L is one of the wheels it was just so nice to ride. I enjoyed it so much. Just put like, you could put a bit of a bigger tire into it, like 14 by 2.75. All right, make it a bit more stable. Same to the smaller wheels, but you're just sitting on an imaginary pile of cash, Kingsong. If you would just improve those wheels, add a hollow motor, add a smart BMS, some minor improvements, minor tweaks, I would run. I would say, hey, that's a great starter wheel, get it. Hey, yeah, get the 18L, super fun, light, you can put it up the stairs. 14D, well, my favorite wheel, I love it. With a hollow motor now, I can recommend it to anyone. Kingsong, please. It's not about making your new product blue. It's not about adding more suspensions. It's not about having 4.2 volts more than competitors. It's about making a wheel that works well for the customer, that is easily, usable in your day-to-day life. And your lineup of your old egg-shaped wheels is one of the best products that, you know, money can buy if they will be slightly improved. So, I'm too frustrated with this King Song. All right, that's where your R&D should go to. All right, with that said, and calming down a little bit, let's talk about InMotion. Now, when it comes to InMotion didn't release actually any new big wheels recently. They just added the word Pro to a bunch of wheels, which means pretty much next to nothing. But they did release a new small EUC with 2 wheels, and it's exciting, but I can't test it. It doesn't have a smart BMS. And I don't know how durable it will be, but I still need to tell you about it. So they released the InMotion E20, which is supposedly the easiest wheel to learn, and I believe they're right. I was testing a InMotion V3 Pro back in the day, and that was really easy to ride. And it's awesome to have a product which makes the learning process, which is the toughest hurdle for a new EUC rider, a lot easier. So with the E20, the specs don't matter all that much, I would say. The most important part about it is that it has 2 wheels and it's cheap. And it doesn't have a smart BMS. So let me guide you through the specs real quick. The tire size is 10 inches. All right, good size. And it has 2 of those tires. So you can check out the teardown by 2 cells 1 pack. They go a bit more in depth into this wheel there. The motor power at peak is 900 watts, which should be more than enough for your learning process, and the top speed is 20 kilometers an hour. Cool. I think it's more powerful than the V3 Pro back in the day, so if it's more powerful than that, then it's sufficient. The battery is 240 watt hours, and again, this is not really to go places, this is more to learn. With 240 watt hours and beginning your journey, you'll be training for an hour or 2 and you'll be still fine. The biggest downside for me is that it doesn't have a smart BMS, and I'm particularly adamant about it, not only because of my name, which is Adam, but because I bought a V5F back in the day, and I bought it used, and it failed on me like 3 or 4 times. And just later, once I realized what the problem is, it turned out that it had to be the battery. The battery had issues, it wasn't balancing, I wouldn't know why it just turns off randomly, and if it would have a smart BMS, I would find out about it, I would repair it, and then, I would still have a wheel. And this is my main issue. Like, people will get this wheel, I would say it will survive maybe 2,000, maybe 5,000 kilometers. I don't know, depends on the use case. But if it doesn't have the proper management system on the battery, I don't really want wheels to end up in a landfill. And I feel like a little bit with this wheel, it is the case. So no smart BMS, and the shell being made out of plastic, it's probably easy interchangeable. It's not the biggest issue, but no smart BMS. Again, no review. I know it keeps the price down, but the Xiaomi M365 is also cheap. I know, different economy of scale, but it has a smart BMS. Smart BMS everything, all right? InMotion, if you put a smart BMS in the E20, I would happily review it. All right, so charging time, I don't really know. I didn't read the specs, but presumably it's like probably 2 to 4 hours. Nothing really slow. It's a small battery pack, so it will charge quickly. It weighs 13 kilograms, so that's great. It won't be like hitting your shin and then you'll be in pain for weeks to come. Of course, no suspension. It does have a seat, which is pretty cool. It doesn't have a trolley handle, doesn't really need it. And there's also lighting in the front and back and a Bluetooth speaker. And at the price of 500 euro, well, it's a great offer if it would have a smart BMS. Now, I leave it up to you. I think if you're running like a EUC rental place, you will have to have this wheel, because then you show how you ride and then people can rent something else or learn on something else. If you have a store, probably it's good to get that wheel as well. And then you also have a bit more knowledge in order to repair it if something goes wrong. Now, for an individual customer, I don't know. I just wouldn't want to wish it upon anyone to have a wheel that after a while breaks down and then you're just left with a brick. So my excitement level, just because of like the cheapness of it and the lack of smart BMS, is about 6 out of 10. Now, Albert from 2 Cells 1 Pack would say probably 10, 12 out of 10, but for me, I like products to last a bit longer, just like me in bed. So what wheel would I want to have from InMotion? And just like with all the other manufacturers, put a smart BMS into it. Don't like just call them Pro with like not adding any major changes. So they made the V12 Pro, where the only difference is you can like connect several of the Bluetooth speakers together, and supposedly it has like 3 kilometers more range. Apparently it has a lot more torque, but we already know what's in motion torque is from the past, right? Not a big difference from V12 to a V12 HT, but maybe with this one it is. And then they made the V13 Pro, which is pretty much the same as the V13, apparently a bit more range, and it's black. And I believe that those are the only changes. Maybe there's like something really small, but maybe you just can call them V13.1. I don't know. Maybe I'm being just a bit too picky. But the wheels I want to see is, all of their alignment improved with good hollow motor or big steel axle, whatever you prefer, in a smart BMS. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I would love to ride a V10 around, but I won't because I'm afraid of the axle breaking. It doesn't happen to everyone, but I wouldn't want to have it happen eventually, And also no smart BMS there, so not a good wheel for me. Dream wheel of emotion? I don't know. Let's get to Extreme Bull. Now, Extreme Bull is not a company I talk a lot about here on the channel, just because they didn't have any wheels with a smart BMS and they're generally not that available in Europe. But now they have created the Griffin. And this will have a smart BMS, so I can talk about it. So the Griffin is essentially a veteran Lynx. Wow, King Song, Extreme Bull just doing the same thing. But anyway, we'll have a 20-inch tire like the Lynx, 14-inch rim with a 2.75 wide tire like the Lynx. The motor power supposedly will be 4,000 watts, so a bit more powerful than the Lynx. The battery will be 2,700 watt hours like the Lynx, which is actually 2,592. It will have a smart BMS like the Lynx with 50 S cells like the Lynx. It will have a charge port that is different than the Lynx. Wow, surprise. It will be a 2-pin charge port. Will it actually like ship with that? Because that's nonsense. Like, you want to trade your charge ports. You want to go to your buddy that has a Lynx because he could afford it, and then you want to charge from his port. And Extreme Bull wants to deny that, right? Not good. And the free spin speed will be 147 kilometers an hour, so a lot faster. Probably that's also with the C38 motor, so that's pretty exciting actually. And weight will be 42 kilograms, so just a bit heavier than Lynx. But also 100 millimeters of suspension travel, which is more than Lynx. And this is like the veteran style suspension with a couple of rollers on the bottom, so should feel a bit more sturdy than the Lynx. Am I saying Lynx too much? Probably not. I guess there will be a seat available for it. There's not much info about it other than one distributor from Hong Kong posting about it. And there's a locking trolley handle as well. Lighting front and back, which will be probably decent or okay. And the price, I didn't see any official price on any official sort of retailer or distributor. Maybe it's also just like a, AliExpress thing, I don't know, but it's $3,300 before tax and before shipping. So a lot cheaper than Lynx, but maybe also worse than Lynx, or maybe better than Lynx. I don't know. I am very moderately excited about that wheel. I just like the Begode firmware, so maybe I would even ride it a bit more happily than the Lynx. I don't know, I would have to test it out. I rode to Extreme Bull. Maybe I will test one, we'll see. I would be actually quite curious to see how it behaves. So my excitement level is at 5 out of 10, just because it's also still a pretty heavy wheel and I don't know pretty much what to expect from it. I just have the Lynx and then I compare the Lynx to that wheel, sort of. It doesn't seem to have anything special that would make me excited. So what would I want from Extreme Bull as a company? I don't know, just surprise me. I feel like, it's the testing company from Begode, but they seem to just make like wheels of other companies just a bit different. So I would love to see Extreme Bull just making something crazy, like surprise me. Make a 28-inch 6,000 watt-hour wheel, or make a wheel with 20 centimeters of suspension travel, or make a wheel with a built-in charger, or make a wheel that has a second wheel in the back So you could just like trolley it around and then, no, make a wheel with additional 2 wheels in the back, and when it tilts, it could just like ride by itself. I don't know, just come up with something. Like, I don't think you have much to lose. I'm sorry, I said that. So yeah, that's what I would like to see from Extreme Bull. With that said, that covers sort of the news about those 5 major manufacturers. And if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon!